This is part 5 of the Athol 644.5 Swivel Jaw Swivel Base Vise Rebuild. If you haven't seen part 4, click the link at the top of the screen. In this video, we will be cleaning up the vise and parts with wire wheels. Hello everyone, I'm Jeff and welcome to my shop. We got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. Over at my grinder, I've got a steel brush wire wheel and we're going to clean up these parts. So we're starting with the main nut. And I'm going to be using a variety of wire wheels in this video. We're just starting on the grinder, but we'll be using some wire wheels and a drill, as well as the angle grinder. Here we're just cleaning up the outside of the body, and we will be cleaning the bores and the interior parts with smaller wire wheels. So this is the swivel base lock. And this is the swivel base screw. We're going to clean up the threads on that as well. This is the swivel base lock handle. And as I said in the previous video, it has a pin that pins the handle into the nut, but that pin is blind, so we're not going to disassemble it. This is the set pin for the swivel base screw, and then the stud or pin that goes behind the main nut. Then we've got the two shim/spacers for the lead screw, and we'll clean the spring up by hand. Then we've got the handle, and then the lead screw. So that is a bit of a workout. As you can see, I'm just twisting with my right hand as I'm feeding that through the grinder. When we're done with that, my right wrist is really spent. But this vise is in no way near as bad as doing that with the that reed that we worked on. So here I've just got a bottle brush and I'm just going to clean out some of these bores. This obviously is the ball, or what's referred to as the meatball, on the end of the lead screw that the handle goes through. Then we've got the inside of the main nut. Then we've got the spring. We're just going to clean the entire spring. A couple of other smaller parts. We've got the lock handle. Notice that I switched over to a nylon brush so we can get it down inside some of those tight spaces. So here we are with that screw for the base, and those threads are kind of chewed up. So we're going to fix that by placing this in the vise. Note that I've got some brass jaws on my vise, so we're not going to damage the existing threads. We're going to use these little pen files and just reshape those threads. I don't have a tap big enough for this, so this is the way we're going to have to do it. And what we'll do is, after we've cleaned them up, we'll check it inside the base. And if they're binding up, then we'll clean them up some more. So you have to have kind of a basic knowledge of thread geometry and how they're shaped, depending on what kind of thread we're dealing with, to understand how to reshape these threads. And it's giving me a little bit of some resistance there. I think that's more the rust on the inside of that of the base, or in the inside of the main body, than the threads not being clean enough. So I was hesitant to put a little bit of oil in there, but I'm just going to put a drop in there, kind of work that in there. Trying to keep from oiling anything because we're going to be painting these parts. So that's good enough. Okay, so here we are with the main body, and we're going to wire wheel it with the angle grinder. We're just going to clean up as much of it as we can with that angle grinder. So if you don't want to soak something like this when you're working on it, this is probably one of the first steps that you can do to really get it clean. Problem with not soaking is you're not going to be removing any of the oils and grease to the level that you do by soaking all of this stuff. But yeah, no big deal. So I'm just using some various wire wheels inside a drill as well to get into some smaller areas. And now we're going to look at that key. So this key, according to the patent drawing, should have two pins, one on each side of it, that hold it in place, but I'm not seeing any pins. So, and it is moving. It's basically pivoting in the center. So I'm thinking that I can just pull this out. And yep. So there is one pin that sits in the center that the key rests on, and that keeps the key from sliding left or right inside the channel that it sits in. So we'll just clean that channel out now with another wire brush and continue working on the main body. So I don't think I have it on video, but we cleaned the key up inside or with the wire wheel over on the grinder. Here I'm just using various hand brushes to get inside that main body where I can't really get any of the wire brushes that I have for the drill in there. And most of that's all clean anyways. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly sand all of the bed ways that the dynamic jaw slides on. Some of them have got some pretty serious pitting on them, and that's understandable for as old as this vise is. And basically these are just paint stirrer sticks that I've got some sandpaper glued to them on both sides. And you can see the different grits up there, but I'm not even using that 180. I'm starting at 220 on all this and then hitting it with 320, 400, 600, 800, and 1,000. So if I didn't have the pitting that we've got on most of these ways or beds, I'm not sure the exact technical term, then we would probably do some wet sanding as well, but we're just going to dry sand all this stuff, and we're not removing a whole lot of material. We're just trying to smooth out the surface on them. Then we'll use some bottle brushes to clean out the rest of the bores. If you do this, it's best if it's a threaded bore or threaded hole that you put the drill in reverse. Otherwise, as the brush threads into that threaded hole, it'll snap the brush off. And it gets real fun trying to get the brush out of there. So here we are with the dynamic jaw. We're going to start with the angle grinder wire wheel. And we're just going to clean up the outside of it as best we can with this wire wheel. And then we'll come back with some smaller brushes. So obviously if we're going to be painting, we're going to have to do some masking. And any of those surfaces that should be metal to metal contact, like the bottom of this jaw and the beds or ways inside the main body, those will all get masked. And here we are with the base, the swivel base, and I've got a wire brush that I've kind of wedged inside there. I'm just going to walk it around and then clean up the outside of it as best as possible with the angle grinder again. And there are obviously some areas that we can't get to, so we're going to have to switch out to the drill and some smaller brushes. But no big deal. All right, so here we've got the swivel jaw, and we're gonna, it's too small for me to really clean with the angle grinder. I'd probably just throw it right off the table. So we'll clean it up as best we can over here on the grinder. We get most of it pretty clean. Yeah, having an angle or a grinder with a wire wheel in your shop is a lifesaver. I get so much stuff done on this thing. Then we'll clean up the areas we couldn't get to with a wire brush inside the drill. Moves at a much slower RPM so we can better control it and not sling that swivel jaw across the shop. Then we'll clean up that one bore for the lock pin, and that is going to wrap up this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. In the next video, I think I'm going to try to fabricate the locking pin. We'll see how that goes. As always, I appreciate the support, and I will see you next time.